Hi everybody, it's Lori. It's Purim now, and Purim is ending. Actually, Purim was yesterday. And now, it's time for Passover. And what we're going to do is think about the Passover story. What do you remember about Passover? Listen, and then it will be your turn. I remember when I was a slave in Egypt. God, I thought that would never, ever, ever end. I remember having to go and carry those heavy bricks and walking in the hot, broiling sun, trying to build those pyramids. And the taskmasters, oh my God, not fast enough, not good enough, they said. And it really hurt my back. I remember seeing my mother cry sometimes because she was working so hard. And my father, who was so strong, he was taking the bricks and just so hot. He was helping build the pyramids. I thought it would never end. What about you? I didn't think we'd have any hope of ever getting out. But then, my mother said, just relax, be calm, be positive. Things will work out. Then this guy came. I hated him at first. I hated him so much. Moses. Who was he, sent here to make our lives worse? He went to King Pharaoh, and he told him to let the slaves go, to let us go. And do you remember what happened then? Things got real bad, and King Pharaoh made it worse for us, and we had to find our own straw, and we couldn't do anything. I hated him so much. We didn't need that troublemaker to come around. And then strange things started happening in Egypt. Not in Goshen, where I lived, but in Egypt. Weird things. The water turned to blood. Frogs all over the place, lice, flies, the cattle getting sick and dying, boils on their hands and bodies, and then there was hail. Oh my gosh, that hail. Do you remember what it looked like? It was so big, and it had fire inside of it. But again, it wasn't in Goshen, where my family and I and all the other slaves lived. Then there were locusts all over the place. And then there was darkness. And then I remember my father coming and saying, Moses did it again. He said, tonight's the night. We've got to gather a lamb, roast it, and eat it with our sandals on. Ready to leave Egypt forever. I didn't think so. My mother was breaking bread and she was laughing along with the other women. And I remember my father saying, put that dough on your back because we're going to get out of here. And she did. She didn't balance it on her back. She tied it to her back. And we were eating. And I thought it was really weird. My father took some of the blood from the lamb that my mother roasted, and he put it on the door. Now, if I would have done that, I would have been smacked. But he put it on the door, and I saw other doors with blood on them. What was it, Bloody Door Day? I didn't understand. But then he called out, and he said, let's go, real fast. I'm sorry. And we all left Egypt, and we were running and running and running and running. We were going to be free. We heard something. It was Pharaoh. He changed his mind again, and he was chasing us with his chariots and an army of over 600 men. And we were running. And all of a sudden, we got to the Red Sea. It was either go into the sea and drown, or let Pharaoh catch us. And everybody started screaming at Moses, why'd you bring us out here to die? What are you talking about? And Moses didn't know what to do. And I saw him looking up at the sky. Weird, huh? And all of a sudden, he raised his rod on top of his head. And there was a huge wind. Whoosh, and the sea split. And we got through it. The Jews got through it. Yes. But as the Egyptians were going, the waters stopped. And they closed up. But not before there was huge screams in Egypt, in all of Egypt. What were they? It was the last plague. Death of the firstborn. Oh my God, I remember that. But we were luckily through the Red Sea, and we were free. And Miriam was singing, and we were dancing and singing and thanking God for being free. But all of a sudden we realized being free was scary. We used to get our food. Now we didn't. We used to know when things were coming. Clothes, everything. Now it wasn't. We were free because God freed us. But now life was going to be really, really different. Now that's the story of when I was a little girl and was a slave. Now it's your turn. You are going to write the story or part of the story of Passover in first person. That means I, we, us, you, things like that. You don't have to tell the whole story. Tell a part of it. What was it like when you were a slave? What do you remember? I'm going to give you a web that you can follow and do, but I want you to really be creative. I want you to think and write the most creative story you can write, because it says every generation needs to retell the story of Passover. Bechol dor v'dor chayav adam lirot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim, which means in every generation, every person needs to see himself or herself, it is March, Women's Month, as if he or she themselves had come out of Egypt. We were all slaves. I told you part of what I remember being a slave. I want to read about what you remember about being a slave. Okay? Be creative. Do the best you can. If you can email your story to me. Remember the who, what, why, when, where, how. Who were you? Where were you? What did you have to do? Why did you have to do that work? And how did you feel? How did everybody feel? You can do it. You can use your imagination, and you can write the best story that you can. I'll see you on the other side later. Shalom.